We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It's Sunday. We're in the weekend. We had a big week last week. Even yesterday, we have some things happening that we need to talk about. And I have the good fortune of having a guest on today. You know him. I know him. Eric from Iowa. And Eric, you sent me an email earlier yesterday, and you seem to be chomping at the bit to get back on. Maybe it's because of all the shit that's going on. There's plenty to talk about, no question about it.
Oh yeah, definitely plenty to talk about. I was getting ready to start a big email, and I'm like, for as long as this email could be, I might as well just go on the podcast. So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What were you going to put in the email? What was it you wanted to bring up?
well, one of the things I don't know if I'm on to something or maybe I'm on something. I don't know. I was listening to Hawk, and Hawk was talking about Trump and his NATO comments about how he wants to make the NATO countries pay up and or he wouldn't defend them. And
Right.
he said a comment about it's not like each country has a checking account with NATO that they have to deposit money in. It's just how much of their budget is being spent. But it was the checking account comment that made me think. And I'm like, I wonder if Trump actually believes each country has a checking account with NATO, and he's hoping to get back in and investigate that a little bit and try to grift or swindle out of those accounts. If he thinks he could bankrupt another country to keep himself funded.
Well, yeah, the idea that Donald Trump has no idea how NATO works wouldn't surprise me in the least. He doesn't know how anything fucking works. He is absolutely illiterate. He's too focused on himself to really care about anything going around him. He just picks up shit like NATO and whatever and thinks it's going to charge up his base, and he talks some shit and they get excited, and that's all he really does. He is in many ways illiterate. He just has no clue and has no ambition to learn anything. He just wings it all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, I remember reading something came out from one of his aides after he left the White House, and they said he basically they had to dumb everything down to no bigger than one page, and they had to write all of his memos and stuff, all of their information briefings in the way Trump would talk, or he couldn't understand it. Well, if this is our options. If we do this, people will think we're winners. If we do this, people will think we're losers for doing this, or we're suckers if we fall for that. And if they didn't dumb it down to his level, that he couldn't comprehend what they were telling him, and he couldn't make a decision.
Well, and the big problem with that is that all the people around him understand how he can be manipulated or misinformed, and they can get what they want. The likes of Stephen Miller or Steve Bannon or somebody like that. These truly evil fucks that just want to manipulate him. It's so easy to do, then they just do it. And that's where most of the problems came in, is because um, he's too dumb to even come up with some of these ideas, these evil fucking ideas. But the people around him know exactly what to do to get him to do what they want him to do. It's frightening.
Oh yeah, like I'm guessing picking Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court. I bet you he had no idea who she was ever
No.
before somebody gave him her name. But they said, look, people will think you're a real winner if you put her on the court. They're going to love you for this because, you know, we can get this or that done, and they're going to cheer and praise you for doing it. And he went, oh, okay, sure, that sounds great. Not because he thought she was a good pick or a good fit or anything like that. All he cared about was their perception of himself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, of course, the big news yesterday was the information that we got from Judge Engeron in the Letitia James lawsuit. We've been waiting for his decision as to how much Donald Trump is going to owe the state of New York. Um, Letitia James was asking for $370 million. It ended up that the Trump organization in total is going to be fined, if that's how you describe it, 364 million, 355 basically for Donald Trump, $355 million, four to Donald Trump Jr., four to Eric Trump, and $1 million to Alan Weisselberg. I think we all knew it was going to be a big number, but it's like the Trumps are surprised by this. Holy shit, we had no idea. Everybody had an idea, but apparently Donald Trump was surprised by this. And Alina Habba, too. She's hilarious because she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And she's steaming mad at this point.
Well, I am not surprised at all that he didn't see this coming. I believe he genuinely believed as a point of fact that he was going to win that case. I bet you he believed, no doubt, that they put on a great defense, that they proved everything beyond a shadow of a doubt, and the judge was going to come out with, no, fine, Donnie, you're okay. Everything was above board.
Well, and see, that was the problem. He was at a press conference after court let out and the judge was deliberating, and somebody asked him about the case and how he was going to pay things back. And he says, "Oh, we won that. We won that on appeal already." What he failed to understand was that when he was in the trial, this last part, he'd already lost. It was just a matter of figuring out how much money. And I can't believe he would be that oblivious that his lawyers didn't say, now, Donnie already lost this motherfucker on summary judgment. They're just trying to figure out how much you're going to pay. They clearly didn't tell him because he spent the whole time ragging on the judge, who is the one person that's going to decide what he has to pay. He did every dumb move you could possibly do.
Well, I was surprised it was actually as low of a dollar amount as it was. I was expecting more.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I was
in
too.
part, in part just because of how much he ragged on Donald, or that Donald Trump ragged on the judge and the law clerk, and turned his courtroom into a circus and everything else. I thought the judge was going to throw the book at him, and that it was kind of a reserved judgment, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's that and the fact that he's not allowed to do business in New York for 3 years. I got a lot of people that came to me and said, he only got 3 years. My God, he should have got 10 years. And they were upset and concerned about that. And I said, you just have to think about this a moment. He's 78 years old. He's not in very good health from just looking at him. He's got more pressure hanging over his head than any human, something a 35-year-old couldn't handle. He's 78 years old. He's got 3 years where he can't do business. He will be broke ass bitch. And by the time he's ready to maybe go back and do some business in New York, he won't be in a position to do it. He'll be 81 years old. He possibly in jail. So while 3 years doesn't sound like a lot, for all intents and purposes, it may be a lifetime ban because God knows how long this fuck's going to live
Oh,
past the time he gets out of jail.
oh, definitely. I mean, that's if he gets out of jail. But anything beyond a couple of years, he's probably going to be sitting in a prison cell beyond that. So yeah, it is going to be a lifetime ban. They did not, from what I can tell, force him to dissolve the Trump organization, but I don't quite know how that is going to work if he's not allowed to do business or sit on the board of any business in New York. Um, I don't know how the Trump organization is going to be allowed to exist unless they're allowed to move their headquarters somewhere else.
Yeah, but the problem with that is he's already in receivership. I have to wonder if they didn't shut down the Trump organization because they're expecting that he's not going to be able to come up with the money and they're going to have to fire sale. The receiver will have to fire sale his properties in order to satisfy at least part of the debt he owes. We're talking over four and a half, $450 million, and with interest, we're up over $500 million. He doesn't have that kind of cash. Nobody has that kind of cash unless they're crazy wealthy, and Donald Trump clearly isn't. So they're going to have to sell off shit. And unfortunately, Donald Trump has no control over it, which is driving him nuts, I'm certain. The receivership is going to have to sell this stuff quickly, and it's going to go for some cheap prices. And Donald Trump will be left with nothing, no money, no property, no income, and he's just fucked.
Oh yeah, and but he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm going to appeal. I'm going to appeal." Okay, one of the things I haven't been able to find out, and I don't know if it works or not, is when they appeal, will the appeals court only look at Donnie's side, or will they look at the whole thing? And could the appeals court, if he does get to appeal, come back and say, yeah, the judge got it wrong. It should be 600 million, or it could be 700 million. Could he fuck himself by
Theoretic,
appealing it?
theoretically he could, but from everything I've heard, that there's nothing really to appeal in this case. One of the problems he had was you would appeal something on evidence, and Alina Baba is a dumbass lawyer, and she accepted every bit of evidence brought in by the prosecution. She didn't object to anything. So based on that, there's really no evidential thing that they can complain about. He's going to have a problem with appeal, but more importantly than that, he still gets punished because he can't appeal it until he puts up the money. And that's
Right.
$355 million. But some people will say, well, he'll just get a bond. I don't know about that. I mean, he had $5 million he had to put up in the first E. Jean Carroll case. He didn't get a bond. Nobody was willing to bond him at $5 million. Are they going to bond? I mean, he essentially has to get credit, a loan against his 20%. They bring in 80%. But who's going to do that for him? And what kind of bonding company has an extra $450 million laying around? I just don't see him getting any kind of bond at all. He's not in a position to do it. I mean, think of it this way. He puts up 20%. The bonding company puts up the remaining 80%. He loses the appeal. The court takes the money. Now, how is the bonding company going to get their money back? From Donald Trump? No, he's going to be a broke ass bitch. And they want to do collateral for this thing, put up some of his properties, but he's got to get permission to do that from the receivership. I don't know how he gets a bond. I think what's going to happen, he's going to go down to the last minute and they're going to start fire sailing shit. That's the only thing they can do.
Yeah. And something, I don't know if you reported on it too, but something I've been seeing is it's in the court order. If he gets a bond or a loan or something to pay this fine, he is not allowed to get a loan with any bank that does business within this, that even has a branch inside the state of New York.
That
how many of the big banks that would have that even would consider lending him that kind of money, even outside of, like, even before this case had come up, because I know if they're going to look at this, go, oh, well, you guys were found guilty of defrauding banks. We're not touching you. But if you ignore that for a minute and just put that aside, how many banks would sit there and have the cash to do that kind of business loan that don't have an office or a branch or something in the state of New York?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not many that are that big that would be willing to give him that money outside of New York anyway. So he's screwed.
Now I'm getting all these fatalists coming to my comments and talking about, every time something happens to Donald Trump, they'll always say, yeah, but he'll squeeze out here or squiggle out of here. And here's the few things that people are saying. They're saying that, well, first of all, they started a GoFundMe, which is against the rules of GoFundMe. I think they took it down or will be taking it down. But the idea that a GoFundMe is going to help him, the idea that they're going to get $300 million in a GoFundMe is crazy. But the kicker here is not only do they have to get $355 million, but they got to do it in 30 days. That's not going to fucking happen. It's just not going to happen. Then they talk about, and I'm getting this a lot. Did you hear that Truth Social is going to go public and he could get billions from that? Well, this isn't true. They might go public. I guess they got the okay to go public, but anybody who knows anything about it says it might bring an influx of maybe 300 million into the company. What Donnie would get out of that is a fraction of that and nowhere near what they need to cover his bill. He's just not going to be able to come up with $500 million in 30 days. Most people, even if they were healthy and financially well off, couldn't fucking do that.
Yeah. I had heard about the Truth Social thing. I looked into it a little bit, but the couple articles I read were of the thing. Well, it's going to make Donnie billions, and almost instantaneously. Well, just because they've got the go ahead, it's not like they got the go ahead and they're going to put the stock up on the New York Stock Exchange, you know, tomorrow. This
Yeah.
takes time. It takes months to get this all set. They're going to come out with a date and a price, and it's not going to be a instant thing. He might not even be on the New York Stock Exchange within 30 days.
No.
So this isn't a guaranteed lifeline. It's just more news trying to spin it so it makes Donnie look like he's going to be okay, because they're still trying to hang on to this story of Donnie being the heavyweight that's going to, survive 10 rounds with Ali. It ain't happening.
No. There is literally no way out for Donald Trump in this situation. He can't delay anymore because if he appeals, he's still got to put up the money. So he's taking the hit anyway. There's no way he's going to win this on appeal the way the case is played out. The evidence is pretty clear. He's not going to win an appeal. There's just no way. And he's going to have to eat the money while he's waiting to appeal it. It's too much money for almost anybody, but especially Donald Trump. I mean, here's what we know about Donald Trump. And this is where I think the big problem for Donald Trump is in this decision. It's not about the money. Donald Trump is a narcissist. He knows he's an absolute failure in life. Daddy even told him, "You're a worthless piece of shit." So all his life, he's gone with this bullshit and this bluster to try to cover his deep insecurities. I'm the richest. I'm the smartest. I'm the most powerful. I have the best properties. He's saying this all the time for the last several decades. But now with this finding or this decision, we know number one, he's not a smart man. Because if he was a smart man, he would have settled this months and months and months ago for a fraction of what he's being charged, but his ego wouldn't let him do it. We know he's not a billionaire based on this information. We also know he's not a good businessman because all he did was fail. So all this evidence is out there showing Donald Trump isn't who he said he was. In fact, it's showing he is little more than a fraud. And that kind of exposure to people without any way to argue it is going to weigh on him emotionally. It's going to fuck his head up. And that may be what causes him to implode ultimately.
Oh, probably. I mean, one of the things I saw in there that I know he's going to have, once he either gets told it or sees something on it, because I know he's not going to read the judge's decision. It's longer than a page and it doesn't have pictures.
Right.
Was something about the judge made a comment about Mar-a-Lago about how Trump wanted it valued at several billion or something like that. And the judge said, look, that's valued at 4,000 times the most expensive house in America currently. And he's not even allowed, by a deed that he signed, he's not even allowed to claim it as a private residence. So he can't claim it as a residence, and he's valuing it at 4,000 times the most valuable private property in the nation. It doesn't get much clearer than that for how big of a fraud he is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's funny when I watch Eric and Don Jr. on there, they're freaking the fuck out because they got problems too. They're hit both with $4 million fines and they can't do business in New York for 2 years. They can't do anything in New York for 2 years. It's funny when I heard them talking, they were flailing a bit and they mentioned something that, well, in the court case, it's pretty clear that Eric and I had nothing to do with any of that stuff. There we go. Eric and Donnie throwing Daddy Donnie under the bus. Oh yeah, we're big shots in the company. I mean, Jesus Christ, when he took the presidency, Donald Trump said himself, "These guys are going to run it for me. Tell me you're not involved in the last 6 years." Of course you've been involved, but they're trying to bail on daddy and try to save their asses. And I get it. They're young. They're going to be alive for the next 30 years. And their life is fucked up worse than Donnie's because Donnie won't be around long enough to suffer nearly as much as his kids.
Uh, Thought that just popped in my head. You said they're going to be around for a long time, but this could financially bankrupt both of them,
Oh, absolutely.
where they're not going to, they won't have any money, they won't have any wealth, and etc. So it's Donnie's favorite place to eat, McDonald's. How fitting would it be to walk into a McDonald's somewhere and you see Eric and Donnie Jr. behind the counter? Can I take your order?
You want fries with that? Well, the thing about it is with Donnie and Eric, it's not just the $4 million that might bankrupt them. You understand the only jobs they've had is working for dad, and dad is out of fucking business. They could have hoped for some kind of inheritance, but that's fucking gone thanks to Donnie Trump too. These boys are going to actually have to get a job, and be valuable to somebody, and I just don't think they have it in them.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna, you know, I haven't done a whole lot of hiring in my years working, in different levels of management, but I can only imagine getting that application and a resume from Eric and Don Jr. with the only place they've ever worked being the Trump organization and that company being out of business for fraud, effectively.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, this experience don't mean shit. You ain't getting a high, you're not getting a board member position. You're not getting management. We got entry level. You want to start at the ground up, work your way up. That's all you're getting.
Well, Donnie Senior is a business mogul, a genius, and he wasn't beat down by this big finding by Judge Engeron that's going to basically break him. He has a new idea of how to make money. I don't know if you heard about it, but
Oh god.
he was in Philadelphia yesterday at a place called Sneaker Con, which is where all the sneakerheads and freaks that are into sneakers go, and they buy and sell and trade and show off their special sneakers. I don't get it. I'm 63. I buy Skechers. But Donnie Trump has come out with new sneakers that he's selling. Now, the ones I saw were like old school high tops. They were sprayed with a high gloss gold paint. On one side, it had 45 with a wing on it, and T on the other side, and American flag on the back. Oh, those sound sharp, don't they? And he's selling them for $399. So that means in order to pay back what he owes, he's going to have to sell 1 million pairs. Now, they're saying they're already sold out. And the Republicans, yeah, you just sold them out already. How many did you have? Because they weren't pre-produced. These are all pre-orders. So now these dumb fucks have sent the money in and are going to wait to see what they get. And the interesting thing is they say, just keep in mind what you get may not be exactly like what we're showing you here. I can't wait to see the bullshit that they send out and the people pissed off about it.
It's going to be just like Trump steaks or Trump vodka or whatever. It's going to be a nothing. It'll be like the trading cards. They'll pre-order for this stuff and get nothing out of it.
Well,
I don't think they're even going to get a pair of shoes.
no, I'd be surprised if they even get the shoes. But they were very careful when they promoted this thing. They say has nothing to do with politics. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This isn't Donald Trump's company. This is another company, another LLC, and it turns out it's the same guy who sold the NFTs. So what Donald Trump is doing here. This isn't his company. This isn't his brand. He basically is selling his licensing and drop shipping the motherfuckers. I can't wait to see if they end up on Amazon. But he's not going to make the bulk of the money off the shoes. He's going to make a percentage off the shoes because the only thing he's done is attached his name to it. And I got to be honest, Donald Trump said the most valuable thing to date is his brand. I beg to differ. I think that's fallen off the table a bit nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, these shoes, if he's only licensed out his name, he'll be lucky to get 1% of every pair, which means he's getting $4 on the a $400 pair of shoes. He's going to have to sell. What did you say originally? 1 million pairs.
1 million
So
pairs
now
to
you have
get.
to sell 100 million, 100 million pairs of these damn shoes to pay the fines. And that's if he gets 1%. What if
Right.
he gets less? Well, he probably just got a bulk cash amount, which he's spending to pay legal fees as is. I bet you this doesn't benefit him toward these cases at all.
Well, that's the thing here. People keep talking about, well, he's a billionaire. Well, he's not a billionaire, wasn't a billionaire, never was, never will be a billionaire. But he's got other problems other than this $450 million plus interest that he's got to pay. It sounds like he's averaging about $10 million a month on legal fees. $10 million a month legal fees. And I heard somebody talk about a PAC that he's draining money from, and he's got $27 million in that account. So that means he's basically got 2.5 months of legal fees. After that, he's fucking broke. And then you throw on top of that he's got to pay the 88 million and the 340 or 55 million. He's drowning. He's hemorrhaging money. And there really is no way out here.
Oh yeah, I heard that too, that it's 21 million a month. And on top of it, somebody said, well, he wants to put Laura Trump in as head of the RNC so he can tap into the RNC money. But the RNC only has like 20 million,
No,
21
no,
million in the coffers.
no. The DNC has 117 million. The RNC has 8 million.
Oh, it's 8.
$8 million going into a presidential campaign. The Republican Party is essentially broke, and all the state Republican parties, like here in Minnesota, they have $50 in their bank account. The Republicans are having a hell of a time with money. That's why people say, well, Donald Trump will get all these idiots to pay the $355 million. I said, he's drained these bitches for 7 years. Do you think they have that much money? And can they do it in 30 days? I think not.
No, exactly. Well, what you're saying is like with the Republican Party and the National Republican Party, the state parties being broke because Donald Trump has drained all of the voting base
Right.
and keeps fleecing them. Send me money to stop the steal. Send me money. Send me money. Send me money. Help elect Herschel Walker, but 99 cents on every dollar goes to Donald Trump. All of this that he's done, those coffers would be full at the state levels and at the national level by this point going into every race. He has bankrupted the entirety of the Republican Party.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's like a drug addict. Every bit of money he gets either goes to legal fees or living his lavish lifestyle. The question is where's he going to get the money to campaign for president of the United States? And then you throw in the fact that starting March 25th, he's going to trial in the Manhattan district. And from that point forward, with all the other trials and things happening, he's literally going to be in court virtually every day up through the election. He isn't going to have time to campaign, and he certainly isn't going to have the money for it while he's trying to pay back what he owes the state of New York and E. Jean Carroll and pay off his legal fees. He's drowning. He's fucking drowning. And anybody else that was in this position would just give up because there's really no way out. But he's still going to try to pull it off and sell sneakers and NFTs and stuff. But Donald Trump always fails. So he's going to fuck around and find out.
Well, you're talking about the case that starts the 25th or 23rd of March, whichever it is. He said, "Oh, it's going to be an honor for me to sit here in court every single day." No, no, dumbass. It's not going to be an honor. It's your fucking duty. You are required to sit there.
Yeah,
I
you
want
got
to
to be
see
there.
what happens. In fact, I'm going to go on the record right now. I'm making a prediction that somewhere in this court case, he's going to try the bullshit that he tried in the civil cases, and he's going to get up and try to walk out of court or just not show up one day. And
Yeah.
I bet you in this criminal case, he gets held in contempt and might have to sit his butt in jail for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he has a behavior problem. He is a little bit ADHD, and he's not going to be able to sit there and get pounded on with evidence after evidence after evidence. Um, but here's the thing: people have to know. People think he's going to get away with something. Would you agree with me that really the only thing that has to happen is him getting convicted of 2 felonies out of the 91, and he's done? One or two. Something that would put him away for 5 years
Yeah.
or 6 years, right? Okay. In this
Five,
man,
6, yeah, something like that.
yeah. Now in this Manhattan district case, he has 34 felony charges. What are the odds that Alvin Bragg, who has a conviction rate of 98%, doesn't get one or two of them in this first trial? The odds are slim to none.
Well, I was explaining this to a coworker of mine, and he was getting worried about it. He's like, "Well, this case is coming up, and could you think Donald think he'll be found? He'll get out of it or whatever?" And I'm like, "Look, this is a documents case." He goes, "Oh," like he kind of shot up. He's like, "Oh, you mean like this is on the classified documents?" I go, "No, this is a documents case. This is all about his financial records." I go, "They have all of the proof. They have the documents. They have his they have his bank account statements and text messages and everything. They have all their documents in a row. They wouldn't bring this if it wasn't going to be plain cut. Here's bank account statement, bank account statement. Here's the canceled check. Here's this text message. Here's that email. All of it. It is so cut and dry. That's why these cases have like a 98% conviction rate,
Right.
because it's all the proof. They have the proof before they ever bring the charge.
Right.
I compared it to going to your local grocery store and writing a bad check. They have your bad check. They have the
Yeah.
check that didn't clear. They pull your bank account and showed you never had the money. They've got your conviction right there. It's done.
Yeah. There's no way he runs the table on this first trial. You don't beat 34 felony charges brought by a district attorney worth his salt. And Alvin Bragg is a smart fucker. Because remember, Alvin Bragg is the one that got Donald Trump organization convicted of 17 felony crimes and Alan Weisselberg of one or two. So he knows this case pretty well. He knows what's happening with the money. And I heard somebody allude to something today, something I've been saying a lot. Once they get through this case with the Stormy Daniels case, and that's just a small part of it, I would not be surprised if Alvin Bragg came back at Donald Trump with criminal charges regarding what we just saw in the lawsuit. Because all of those things he was doing that he lost in the lawsuit were crimes. And it would be remiss of Alvin Bragg not to bring that up at some point down the line.
I could see it and get this one case out of the way, because then if you get the one case out of the way, you bring the second case, you can sit there and hopefully squash some of the narrative that you'll hear. Well, they're only doing it because he's a Trump hating blah 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 blah, like all the Trumple fucks would say. Because once he's convicted, and he's even if they wait 6 months after he's been put into prison for any of these felonies, he's going to be out of the narrative. You're going to shut the Trumple fucks up, and they're going to go back under their rocks. I think
Right.
once he makes his appearance and goes to prison, whether it's Rikers Island, whether it's some other supermax, whether it's whatever, I don't think he's going to get home confinement. I think he's going to go into a prison penal facility somewhere. He might end up in solitary where he's alone 23 to 24 hours a day, but for his own protection. But
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get home confinement, because how can you sit there with that many convictions? He's going to be broke. So they're going to, the only way they could do a home confinement, they would put the taxpayers on the hook for paying his rent somewhere.
Right. Because,
Well, they ain't going to do that.
having home confinement is contingent on whether you have a fucking home. And
Exactly.
they're fixing to take all of his shit, and God knows what will be left. I gotta believe that Mar-a-Lago doesn't have a lot of debt on it apparently, but they're going to need to go that far. And since it's all connected through a New York LLC, they're perfectly entitled to go after Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster or any of these other fucking places outside the state of New York.
They could, I mean, his places in Scotland could go too. They could even step outside the country if they have to start fire sailing all this stuff. I mean, he is so far fucked. It is not logical that he's going to be able to come around on this.
No, there's just no way. He's done financially and I think emotionally. Take, for example, it just in New York, as I understand it, he really completely owns one building in New York, and that is Trump Tower. Trump Tower is worth $160 million. But Trump Tower also has a $100 million mortgage. So if they liquidate that stuff, the best he can do is come up with $60 million out of the sale of that building. And that doesn't even cover E. Jean Carroll.
But the way I understand it from other reporting when they were talking about him closing his businesses, before he gets the 60 million, he would have to cover all other debts and outstanding bills related to Trump Tower. That's power bill, that's outstanding,
Right.
employee pay, whatever other bills would be there. That doesn't mean he's going to get 60 million free and clear. It might be 40 or 50 million
Well,
or less.
no matter what gets sold, he won't see any of it. It will go directly from the receivership to the debt owed, whether it be, like you say, the light bill or this decision by Judge Engoron. A lot of shit is going to get sold, and he's not even going to be able to touch it or even make the decision of how it's sold and what it's sold for. The receiver is just going to say, we got to fucking move this shit quickly. We got to do it in weeks. So we got to drop the price. They're going to fire sale this shit just to get money.
Well, and the way I understand it, like I was saying, they got to pay off all of his creditors too.
Yeah.
Well, uh, he owes Rudy Giuliani how many million?
2 million.
When is it just two? I thought it was. I thought it might have been a couple more than that, but it's 2 million. Okay. When Rudy goes through his bankruptcy court, they can put a lien out there. The bankruptcy court can, the way I understand it, against Donnie, and it just becomes an outstanding debt against Donnie. So when the receiver goes to sell off stuff, 2 million goes toward Rudy, and that 2 million Rudy won't see it. It'll go toward anybody that Rudy owes money.
Isn't that just desserts? All these rich motherfuckers think they had the game played, and now they're getting drained of every penny. Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is done financially. He's done as a businessman. He's too old to come back from this, and he probably won't live long enough to come back from it because he'll be in jail for an extended period of time. By that time, he'll be mid 80s. No way that motherfucker survives to the mid 80s. Just no way in the health he's currently in.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, a younger man, a man in his 20s couldn't, even if they only did 5 years in prison, but with this massive amount of fraud, would
Yeah.
not be able to come back and build a business empire for decades.
No.
Nobody would touch you.
Well,
They'd be
unless,
you would have to have so many checks and balances and so much compliance hanging over your head. It'd be so hard even for a young man.
well, the only option is what Donald Trump had earlier in his career when he went bankrupt, and then all of a sudden was flush with money. We know that money likely came from Russia. Now, that's another thing that a lot of people say. They go, oh, Russia will bail him out, or Saudi Arabia will bail him out. Here's the thing. I said this in a TikTok. If you think Vladimir Putin and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia are Donnie's BFFs and they have pajama parties and they get together and they talk about girls and all that stuff, that's not true. These fuckers know he's a fool. He's a useful idiot. But now that he's no longer president, has no money, no power, and his future is in jail, he's no longer useful. So he'll be like the mean girls and just not talk. They'll be like the mean girls and just not talk to Donald Trump anymore because there's nothing they can gain from him.
Exactly. The only thing he potentially might have is a way of making money, and I could see him doing it, and I hope to do whatever you want to believe in that the feds are watching him for it is those missing classified documents.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too, and I think that was part and parcel to why he had those documents. He knew he was going to be in legal trouble, and in his mind, he thought that was leverage that he could, blackmail the country or something. Well, if you don't let me off this, I'm going to release this shit. He was too stupid to understand that. One other thing that people keep telling me, and I think we need to clarify this. We're going to take a break here in a minute, but people keep saying, well, he'll just go to Jared Kushner because he's got $2 billion. I think people misunderstand what's going on there. The crown prince of Saudi Arabia, much to the chagrin of all the other people in Saudi Arabia, gave Jared Kushner $2 billion. But that wasn't for keepsies. He didn't get to keep $2 billion. What he is intended to do is manage it and make money for the crown prince in Saudi Arabia with that $2 billion. And for doing that, he would make around $25 million a year. So he doesn't have access to that $2 billion in that way. In fact, the crown prince recently was interviewed and they say, are you going to keep Jared with this $2 billion? And he basically said that, well, if Donald Trump doesn't get reelected, we're going to take it back. So Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump just don't have the money to bail daddy out. And that $2 billion is not in play.
Well, you and I know that. I bet you Donnie doesn't know that. I bet
Yeah.
you he thinks it's in play, and he's going to at least try it. And Jared, if he's smart, will say, "I can't do that because they're going to come after me for at least the 2 billion, plus whatever I might have made for him, which I bet you was not a damn thing. Not nearly what they were hoping, because this was all a smokescreen for leverage against Donnie Trump."
Well, and the thing is, if you fuck the Russians or the Saudi Arabians, you're going to end up like Navalny or that Khashoggi guy with Saudi Arabia, that journalist from America. They don't fuck around.
Exactly.
They'll kill you, cut you up, and feed you to crocodiles or whatever the fuck they got. So Donnie has to be very careful who he's pissing off. We already know that there's about 20 million owed to Kim Jong Un in North Korea. I can't imagine that they are happy about that. And they certainly aren't going to go to court over that. They're going to want to get their money somehow. And Russia and Saudi Arabia are far more aggressive than Kim Jong Un would be.
True, but I'm going to say this: out of all of the people that Donald Trump owes, the one that I really don't entirely care if he gets paid back is Kim Jong Un.
Oh, no, I don't either.
But I mean, I do feel bad for the North Korean people because that was probably all their money that was stolen. But him personally, I don't care if Dottie ever pays him back. Some of the rest of them, I want to see him get their money. I'm sick and tired of Donald Trump shortchanging all these small businesses or whatever and just running out the clock like he always has. Well, I'm going to counter sue you into oblivion so you just settle on for pennies on the dollar. That's not a good businessman. If these Trumplefucks dealt with anybody like that in their day-to-day lives, they'd want nothing to do with him.
No, no, not unless he was worth something, and he's not worth anything right now. I tell you this, Kim Jong Un could probably make back that 20 million if for 1 year he just cut back on Little Debbie's and Krispy Kremes. If he did that, he could probably save the $20 million. It's just a suggestion. I don't know what he's going to do. Eric, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Eric from Iowa is with me. We're talking about Donald Trump's financial problems, and they are many. I want to go off track a little bit and talk about the other big news story this past week. And that, of course, is Fani Willis and how she was brought into an ethics trial, I guess you would call it. One of Donald Trump's co-defendants is questioning some relationship she had with a special counsel or one of the other prosecutors on her staff. And the whole thing just smells of everything that the Republicans do. They make a lot of noise, they exaggerate, they expand on shit, and then when it finally comes to pass, there's nothing there. There's zero there. Did you see her testimony at all?
I did not. I saw a couple of articles
Clips?
on it a little bit, but nothing really substantive.
Well, it was interesting. She's a smart lady, and excuse me for using this term, but this is the vernacular of the day. After watching her sitting in the witness chair, she's a bad bitch. And I think she would agree with me. You know, the funny thing is, she was subpoenaed to testify. And at first, she refused to testify. And then we had the defense team up there saying, "We want her to testify. We want her to testify." And they're ranting about this, knowing that she's not going to testify. So, what does Fonnie Willis do? She comes racing in the room, goes right up to the witness stand and say, "Okay, bitches, let's talk." And that threw them off. They had no idea what to do. They were not prepared, even though they were demanding it. They were not prepared to question her. And it showed because the questions were stupid and she made fools of them. You know, at one point they were talking about different shit that she may or may not have done. And she goes, you know, you have to understand, you apparently don't know what's going on here. I'm not on trial. It's those two over there that are on trial. And that just fucked them up. Bonnie came in, well, to steal Miley Cyrus's quote, she came in like a wrecking ball and made them look stupid.
Oh yeah. Um, Now while there's nothing about this case that was going to affect anything involving the thing that she shouldn't be removed. I don't think it was entirely improper, or whatever. It wasn't for her own financial gain. That, like they're trying to say, and even if it was, that doesn't change the fact that they have all this evidence of these crimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the case at all. I just wish she would have maybe used some better judgment.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on her for it, because things do happen, and I don't know the entire circumstances of how the relationship started. But knowing Republicans like we do, she should have known that they were going to, if this came up to light, they were going to drag her through the mud for it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And just to help you out, Eric, I know you're in Iowa, so maybe I can clarify something for you. When a boy likes a girl, they kiss and then they have babies. That's how it works. That's how it was told to me. And I think I can be proven out on that. Now, but the thing about it is the relationship with this guy wasn't the problem. They needed to make show some kind of evidence that there was some kind of financial collusion here. And this is where it will really confuse me, because she hires this guy, and maybe he's not the most appropriate guy for the case, but he was kind of a mentor to her, and she paid him. And they try to make it out like he made a lot of money. And it was a lot of money, but not for a lawyer of that caliber. In fact, he took a cut in pay to work on this project. They might say, well, he made $750,000. Well, that's true over 3 years. That's $250,000 a year, and that's not crazy for a good lawyer. That's probably in the park, maybe a little low. But what they were trying to say, and help me with this, they were trying to say she paid him money, or the state paid him money. And then he took trips and paid for some of her stuff. So she was benefiting from money he gained from the state. Where I have the problem with it is there's no proof of it. She said she paid for everything in cash, and they were all taken aback. You spent 1,000 in cash or 2,500 in cash? You had that on hand? Like that's a big deal. I mean, it's a lot of money, but you and I both have had situations where we've had 1,000 cash or 2 grand cash to do something. I didn't think that was a big deal. But my question here is, you have a job and you're employed. If your employer pays you money, and then maybe you take the employer out to lunch just to be a nice guy because you like them or whatever. Am I wrong that once they give you the money, it's your money, regardless of how you got it, long as it's legal? And once it's your money, don't you have the right to do whatever the fuck you want with your money? I mean, isn't the Republicans the ones that tell us we need freedom? The whole thing was just ridiculous and convoluted and exaggerated, and it was never going anyplace.
Yeah, it was convoluted. Like once that paycheck hits my bank account, where I spend it is my business. I did have an employer I worked for a long time. It was a retail establishment who tried saying basically if I needed to buy anything from their line of stores or from a store in their field, that I should only buy it from them. I shouldn't go to the competitor, regardless of whether or not it was cheaper, regardless of whether or not, whatever. And at the time when I was much younger, I accepted it. I'm like, well, that makes sense. They're paying me. I should give them my business. But the more I think about it, in this case, that made me thinking about it, is like, no, my money's my money. Where I choose to spend it, I should have made the best choices for me
Yeah, absolutely.
versus, whatever's best for my employer. And in this case, it wherever he was spending the money, whether it was on a trip for her or whatever, that's nobody else's business but his, because it's his
Right.
money.
And the question is, even if she made this transgression, and I don't think it's transgression, even if she did, what the hell does it have to do with a case where there's evidence that showed Donald Trump tried to coerce Secretary of State to flip the election? The, in the whole first day and the second day, I've heard lawyers talk about not one bit of evidence substantiated what they needed to substantiate in order to get her taken off the case. They showed zero evidence to that effect. And that's so typical of the Republicans. Let's try to stain or discredit this person with something that's not true. And then when it comes down to nut cutting time, you got no evidence and it goes away. But they think they accomplished something because they put a stain on Fani Willis or whatever.
Well, again, this is more for the court of public opinion than it is for
Right.
court. Um, they're trying to rile up their base, and they think by dragging her through the mud or whatever that they might come up with maybe some ground for an appeal down the road or something. But there's no evidence of any wrongdoing, and as we've discussed, it doesn't bear any effect, or it doesn't have any weight on the matter at hand and the court case. Now, if it was the judge, if it was his defense counsel, if it was one of the witnesses, okay, now we're on to something,
Yeah,
and
that's a
that's something
problem.
where it should be investigated. It's one of the other prosecutors that's going to be helping to prosecute this case. It means nothing other than it's a stain on her reputation, and it's something they can keep talking about. Well, and try to distract from the evidence that all of this fraud, all of the crimes actually took place.
Well, and I think we can agree that she's not going to get disqualified. There's just no way they disqualify her for this. So the second question is, as I said, Bonnie showed that she's kind of a bad bitch and she's not happy about this situation. You think it's conceivable that, given how ridiculous this was and how frivolous it was, could she then come back after this trial and hit them with obstruction of justice? Because that's essentially what they were trying to do.
Possibly, that's one of those where I don't know that law well enough to whether or not it would apply. I think if she were to try for it, I think she would have to try to get somebody else to bring those charges.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, then the optics of her doing it herself, because they could walk on it being retaliatory and it wouldn't go anywhere. So they could try to use that as a defense. So I could see them, her trying to get like maybe the Georgia State Attorney General or something to bring those charges. I don't know if it would be if they could bring federal charges or whatever, but it would have to be somebody other than her office, I would think, to bring those charges against them.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. What's ironic is she'd be facing this looking like it be retaliatory, but what this defense team is doing is in a sense retaliatory and obstructionist.
Yeah,
But that's typical of the Republicans, like whenever there's a leak someplace and they expose some horrible crime, first thing Republicans said, "Oh, that leaker should be tried." Forget about the crime. The guy who leaked it is the problem here. And that's, it's all diversion, it's all distraction for Republicans. Now, when this happened with Fonnie Willis and with the shit that's going on down in Florida, and we can talk about that a bit, everybody got worried, oh, it's going to be delayed till after the election. And I've said, and I've been admonished for this by some people, because some people want me to go more negative. So everybody goes out and votes. And I think that's insulting to the audience. I don't care if Georgia and Florida go after the election, because in my mind, after what happened with Letitia James, and them pretty much draining Donald Trump dry of every financial resource he has and every property he has, which is what will happen. And then he goes through the Manhattan District trial and gets convicted of at least two, probably more like 10 or more felony charges. What the fuck is going to be left of him? He's broke. He's a convicted felon. And whether Georgia and Florida happen before the election, does it really matter? At that point, he's like kicking a dead horse. You can only punish him so many times. You can only take away so much of his money.
exactly. I think as long as one of the cases, and it sounds like the Stormy Daniels case in New York is going to be going in March,
Mm-hmm.
happen before the election, that's gonna be checkmate for him. He's gonna be done. The rest can come whenever they happen. I was one of the ones that first was worried about Aileen Cannon getting the case, but ultimately, I think Jack Smith is gonna box her into a corner, and she's gonna get kicked off. We're gonna get another judge in there, and once there's a different judge, that case starts within like 2 months,
Right.
and of the new judge being appointed, and that case goes on track, and they're not going to fall for the same bullshit.
No, and with regards to Aileen Cannon and the Florida case, I think she's finally starting to get the message. I'm surprised it took her this long. Jack Smith is a smart guy. I've said all along that he's setting traps, and Biden is time for the right moment to do it. And that moment seems more imminent now, especially when she was going to delay this thing and he made the filing. He said, look, this is ridiculous. You can't reveal witnesses. You can't do this delay. If you keep doing this, I'm going to the 11th Circuit. And surprise, surprise, she denied the delay that Donald Trump wanted. She's trying to back out of this, but I think she's too deep, too much in the hole, and she is going to get kicked off the case. I don't think Jack Smith will stop until he does that. And her problem is she's not only complicit with Donald Trump, she's dumb as fuck. She doesn't know what she's doing. And even if she decides to not be biased toward Donald Trump anymore, she's still going to fuck up.
Yeah, I've heard a couple things on that. I'm not 100% sure about the latest updates. I know there's somebody, Donald Trump wanted to release all the names and the code names of the FBI agents, like that's some big secret, information that everybody needs to know. Nobody needs to know that shit. It's only so he can go after him in the media, sick his rabid Trump will fuck base on him, and scare people into not testifying or whatever, or worse. Um, and Jack Smith was like, fuck you, no, we're not doing this. And then the way I understand it is Jack Smith said, hey, you need to reconsider this. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to reconsider it, but I'm going to delay it, almost a month
Right.
with this reconsideration thing, or 2 weeks or whatever it was. But it sounds like just the simple fact that she's going to reconsider it, if she sides with Donald Trump again, he's going to the 11th Circuit. She's going to get kicked off, more than likely, or at least overruled, maybe kicked off. Um, but I also heard she's being dumb about this because she's there. I guess there's two different types of orders judges can release. One is a paper order, one is a paperless. And it's harder to appeal paperless orders or something.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not up to date on all of it, but apparently it's harder to appeal paperless orders. And by putting it as paperless, they're not as hard on the record. Um, because she knows if she goes with a papered order, it would be on the record, easier for the 11th Circuit to overturn and make her look bad. And, you know, she could be up for any number of disciplinary actions. So she's already knowing she's fucking up by doing it the side run around way.
Right. I don't understand the mentality of that, though. I know she's biased toward Donald Trump, but she sees where this is going. Donald Trump is losing every time he goes to court. Doesn't she realize that she's going to be going off the side of a cliff with him if she continues to do this? When do they have some common sense and bail and say, "All right, this is a losing cause. I'm getting off this train right now. Maybe a little late, but I'm getting off this fucking train." It's got to come at some point. Otherwise, you're just too stupid to even be in the position.
Yeah, I think part of it though is she's so deep in that she doesn't see bailing as a way out anymore. I
Well,
don't. I'm guessing here. I'm spitballing, but it could just be the simple thing that she's like, well, I've gone this far. I got to see it through because if I bail now, it's going to look worse for me if I ditch Donald Trump than if I keep doing what I'm doing. I don't. Maybe she's got some sort of. Maybe Donnie's got some leverage on her. Who knows that she thinks she can use to her advantage to make herself look not as guilty.
what she's going to, if she continues to do what she's doing, she's going to be end up being the judge version of Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell went with
Oh yeah.
this rich, he was started out this rich, successful guy that was kind of goofy and stood with Donald Trump. And now he's just pathetic. He's lost everything. He said that. He's lost everything. And I feel sorry for the people who work for him because they're probably struggling and suffering. But this guy is just pathetic. And she's going to end up just like him if she continues down this road.
Oh, probably. I mean, Mike Lindell started out with, several $1 million. I don't know how many. I know he wasn't. I don't.
Couple hundred
I know he
million.
wasn't a
Yeah.
billionaire. Yeah, but a few $100 million. He's down basically broke. He's selling off parts of his company. Nobody wants to do business with him. And if he just would have kept his nose clean and stayed out of politics, you know, he'd probably still be selling his crappy pillows, and nobody would have a problem with it.
Well, that's the
But
thing
he
that's
got in too deep, and then he couldn't see a way out.
right. And that's the thing that surprises me. Usually when you go down a road and make some business decisions, you make a bad choice, things go south and you go, "Okay, I need to change this up a little bit." Now, after losing several times, both Rudy Giuliani and Mike Lindell and any of the other ones, you would think they'd say, "Oh, this isn't going to go well. I'm not going to crash my whole life for Donald Trump." But they never do that. They just keep doubling down. And that's why I think you're right about Aileen Cannon. As much trouble as she's in right now, she may just do what all the other Republicans do, keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down until they crash and burn. She may be that dumb.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think she sees a way out of it other than continuing to go forward. Now, whether if it comes out there's some evidence that supposed evidence or whatever, some leverage Donald Trump had, which is how he was able to use her, or if she just is dumb enough to believe everything Donnie says, I don't know. I'm sure that'll come out eventually. Um, but she's going to crash and burn. She's going to be lucky if in the next several years, if she's still even a federal judge
Yeah.
and has her law license.
And that's saying something because that position is a lifetime appointment. If you fuck that up, you really fucked up. You really fucked
You
up
know,
bad.
I'm not entirely sure on the whole on what the bar or how they go about removing a federal judge from the bench like that because it is a lifetime appointment. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find out because of her.
Well, I think the only way you can do that with a lifetime appointment like that is impeachment. They'd have to impeach her and convict her and get her ass kicked out. I think that's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it with a Supreme Court justice who's also a federal judge. So I'm assuming that's the case. It's going to have to be an impeachment. But if anybody deserves impeachment, it would be Aileen Cannon. Now, we talk about other miserable fucks that are pathetic. I got to bring up because I haven't really talked about it on the podcast much because I haven't really thought it was that big a story, but it kind of is, and that is Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is in some deep motherfucking trouble. And the reason he's in trouble is because of the Republicans. He fucked around, he found out, he went up against Kevin McCarthy. Now, Kevin McCarthy is a loose cannon now. He's not tied to the House of Representatives, and he's going after Republicans, specifically Matt Gaetz. We know they have a contentious relationship. Everybody was disappointed when Matt Gaetz was under investigation with the DOJ. They decided not to prosecute him mainly because the people they had as witnesses weren't credible. They were in jail, and I kind of get that. But then the Republicans in the House decided to do an investigation. And they found all kinds of shit, like text messages and documents and emails and shit like that, that's basically going to put um, uh, Matt Gaetz away, certainly get him kicked out of the Congress. And I think at this point they know their margin is so slim they don't even care right now. They hate Matt Gaetz enough. They want that fucker gone. And I think that may be coming in the next couple of weeks.
That would be amazing if they bring up a vote to kick him out of the House. Because they're already eating their own. They kicked out George Santos. They were talking about holding a vote against Speaker Johnson. They took out Kevin McCarthy. It is ridiculous. Like they're so weak with no power that they have no choice but to turn on each other when things aren't going right because
Right.
they're not unified enough to come against the Democrats.
Exactly. But the question comes up. We were talking about let's talk about Merrick Garland. Now Merrick Garland had this special counsel do this investigation into Joe Biden. He comes out with this bullshit thing. He goes off on a tangent about Biden's memory and um, how that ever got released in that way is troubling to me. What I understand is that um, Merrick Garland saw that report, and the president saw that report before it was ever released. My question is, why would Merrick Garland allow that? And then we go on to Matt Gaetz. He had Matt Gaetz cold, and he let him go. I'm getting a little tired of Merrick Garland. I liked him at first. I thought he was a good choice. But this guy just comes off as a weak, tentative bitch. He's not doing his job as an attorney general. He has no assertiveness. He's scared to death of public opinion, and he backs off of everything. It's starting to get a little upsetting. And as soon as they're in a position to do it, he needs to fucking go.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Merrick Garland was going to do better. That report from her should never should have been allowed. Somebody on TikTok pointed out that when they investigated Clinton, the Republicans were whining and crying. Well, it's got to be a Republican that investigates Clinton, or it's not fair.
Right.
Okay. Well, then I guess they did some investigating into the W, and the Republicans were whining and crying. It's got to be a Republican, or it's not fair. Then they came around. They got to investigate. The next, I think it was Hillary in her emails. Oh, it's got to be a Republican, or it won't be fair. And it seems like every time they turn around, every investigation, they say it's got to be a Republican doing it because it wouldn't be fair. This guy was effectively a Republican, and he releases something that clearly isn't fair and impartial, like you would expect out of that position of being a special counsel.
Right. Well, the problem with it, the most suspicious thing about what he wrote was it sounded almost verbatim the messaging from the RNC. It came
Yeah.
exactly the topic they wanted to hit on, even though it had no bearing on the investigation. And it also had almost the same kind of wording that you would hear out of the RNC. It's ironic that it would come in the time frame it did. I mean, because they investigated Mike Pence, and all they said about Mike Pence, nah, it's cool, he's fine. There was no big report that told us whatever Mike Pence did, but when Joe Biden did, it went on for months longer, and then they come out with this shit, presumably at the right time. For me, that sounds incredibly suspicious and contrived and all about Republican messaging.
Yeah, I don't know why Merrick Garland signed off on it. He should have gone back to her and said, look, this is not good investigating. You know, you're supposed to come out impartial, stick to the facts, don't give me this opinion bullshit. Rewrite it, bring it back, we'll release it.
But he didn't. That's the
But
fucking
instead he
crazy
greenlights
thing.
it. That's what I'm saying. He should have, but he did. Now, as far as Joe Biden getting an advanced look at it, and you know, I'm actually glad Joe Biden didn't stop it. And here's my opinion
I
on that,
agree. I agree.
is that if Joe Biden would have gotten this advanced thing, even if it made him look bad because of the memory thing and this pages long spiel about why Joe Biden's an 80-year-old man and some of the issues there, if he would have come out and said, I don't want that released, fix it, Merrick Garland, get it fixed before you release it, Merrick Garland. That would have come to light at some point, and it would have made Joe look way worse than this report ever did.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
I
probably
think he
right.
took the better approach. He took the better road with letting it come out and letting people see how ridiculous and partisan it really was. And he could come out and punch back and be fine. As far as the documents themselves, I had heard something, I don't know if you had heard this, that part of the reason why Joe Biden thought it was okay for him to keep these documents, like he thought he had them, and they, he apparently knew they were there, but these were his own notes that he had written from classified documents, was the bulk of what was there.
Right.
And because it was still pertaining classified information, he wasn't supposed to keep it, and he wasn't supposed to apparently have notes for some of this stuff, but they were his handwritten notes. So he thought it was okay for him to have.
Yeah.
Big difference between that and what Donald Trump did, which was take in some cases, I wouldn't say originals, but the original he was given and go, okay, mine now, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, he had them in his home. He was asked to give them back. He didn't give them back. The FBI had to go there and drag him out of his place of residence. I mean, that's pretty clear. And when that case goes to court, he's going to lose. There's no question about it. You know, Donnie Trump, his in this meeting with Aileen Cannon, they revealed what their defense was going to be in terms of this case. And this is what they said. Their defense is this. Well, those classified documents were either out of date, they really weren't that classified. It's no big deal. The map up at Bedminster was outdated. That's what they're going with. But they fail to understand that regardless of what's in these documents, the actual possessions of these documents, regardless of what they say, is where the law is broken. So the defense isn't even a fucking defense.
No, but I hope I hope that that's the defense they go with in court. That way, when they lose, and they will with a defense like that, they've shot themselves in the foot for any chance of appeal.
And that's not surprising. They've shot themselves in the foot in every court case that we found. I mean, the Letitia James case, all the appeals. You know, they keep threatening these appeals, and people say, "What if he appeals it? What if he appeals it?" Tell me the last time he's won a fucking appeal in the last 6 years. He hasn't won an appeal. It's ridiculous.
He's only partially won a couple of appeals, and those were on the gag orders. And
Mhm.
like the one, it literally like it took like one person off of who he couldn't talk about, and it wasn't even really a win. It was the bulk of the gag orders stayed in place, and it was a loss.
Yeah.
The only reason people are afraid of these appeals is you always hear that, well, when people appeal it, it takes years and years and years for these appeals, and they think he's going to be like Steve Bannon out on a with this appeal, and he's going to be out walking around and still causing trouble. I don't think it's going to be the same thing. These are much different crimes. When when Donald Trump gets convicted of any of these crimes, it's not going to be, oh, you're out on bail or you're out on probation or parole or whatever, um supervised release pending appeal. No, it's going to be go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200,
Well,
and that's going to be the end of it.
there's a big difference between what Steve Bannon has going on and what Donald Trump has going on. Steve Bannon was sentenced to like 4 months in jail. Same thing as Navarro got. And he didn't win and he didn't get an opportunity for an appeal. He's going to fucking jail. Steve Bannon is out for contempt of Congress. And we know the Congress doesn't have a lot of teeth after seeing so many people ignore the subpoenas. But when it comes to classified documents trying to overthrow the country, like you say, that's vastly different. It's far more serious, and they aren't going to let him run around like a fucking goofball if he's been convicted of everything from classified documents theft to treason. He's not going to get that kind of freedom. He's not going to get that kind of play, especially with the kind of coverage this is going to get. Everything they do is going to be under a microscope, and they better fucking do it right, or people are going to lose jobs.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't see any way he doesn't get convicted. Like I said earlier, I think he's going to end up the only in a federal prison or a state prison somewhere, probably the highest security level facility you're going to get, and he's probably going to end up in solitary
Yeah,
because it's the only way they can keep him safe wherever they put him because of the, well, I'd say the information that he has in his brain, but we know there's nothing between his ears. He doesn't probably remember half of it, but
no,
it's the only way they can protect a former president, so he's probably going to go to solitary. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Um, and yeah, it's going to be directly to jail. They're not going to let him, like you say, running around like a goof, doing whatever he wants because these crimes are that egregious.
right,
I just wish there was a little more teeth with a lot of our stuff. Steve Bannon shouldn't have been out, should still be out, having his podcast and having a platform.
right.
I realize it was only contempt of Congress, but his butt should have gone to prison. It's ridiculous that he's still out causing trouble and running his mouth as a convict, or just because he's waiting on his appeal. Because that appeal's not going to go anywhere. He's just delaying like they all do.
Right, right. Well, remember the good old days when if you heard somebody was convicted of contempt of Congress, you'd go, "Oh my God, that's some serious shit. That's Congress." Now it doesn't mean anything. I mean, Navarro was in jail for 4 months. He'll go in there, tough it out for more 4 months. He'll come out broke and stupid and embarrassed. But 4 months, that's not much. That's not much. Let me say this: Donald Trump has 91 felony charges against him. A very conservative guess would be, based on the success by the respective district attorneys, It's not inconceivable. It's more than likely out of 91 felony charges, he could easily be convicted of half of them, 45, 46 felony charges. That could easily happen. And if it does, he'll never see the light of day.
I think it's higher than that. I
I
think
do
if he
too.
walks on any charges, he's only going to walk on maybe one or two.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have like almost all of the charges come back convicted. The biggest one, especially after he's already been convicted of similar charges. Like if he goes down for the 4 charges in DC with the January 6th stuff, now you're dealing with overthrowing an election. When they go down to Georgia, they're similar, at least similar enough charges. The fact that he's been convicted of something similar is going to weigh heavily on that jury, and it's going to be much easier to prove that case
Right.
already than not counting any evidence that they might have.
Yeah. Each case whichever case is the last case that Donald Trump has, the preceding cases will make it that much tougher for Donald Trump in the last case to survive. All the evidence will come out, and that will be brought into the following cases, and it's just going to dig the hole deeper and deeper every fucking time. Donald Trump, Donald Trump is going to be broke. There's no way out. Donald Trump is going to be convicted. There's no way out. And the thing is, we know from the polls that whether they say he's winning or not now, the polls all agree on one thing. If he gets one conviction, everything slides back to Biden. Donald Trump is fucked. And he is most certainly going to get one conviction at least before the election, because this March 25th Manhattan District case, they're talking about a 4-month trial, or not a 4-month, a 4-week trial, maybe 6 weeks. That puts it well in advance of the election.
Yeah, you're talking done by mid-May
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
worst. And like I said earlier, this is a documents case. They have all of the documents. They're literally just going to walk in and go, okay, paperwork, 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 paperwork. I mean, it's probably going to put the jury to sleep
Yeah.
because it's, tedious and it's paperwork, but they have their ducks in a row. This is probably, even though it's the least serious of all of his crimes, it is probably going to be the easiest to prove.
Yeah. It's going to be the easiest to prove. And he has one other bad thing going for him. It's in New York. It's a liberal state.
Yeah.
And New Yorkers hate the motherfucker. So that's where he's going to have the most trouble and the hardest time finding a jury that doesn't hate this motherfucker. He just went through this lawsuit, all that was exposed there. And now they're going to go into this case in March 25th. And they're going to say he committed fraud and he did this and he cheated here. Well, the people in this court already know he's been not convicted, but made liable for all the things they're going to be bringing up in this case. He already lost the case, and all of that is going to help District Attorney Bragg hammer the fuck out of Donald Trump.
Exactly. He's going to be so far fucked when this is said and done by mid-May. I mean, he's going to throw temper tantrum after temper tantrum in the court. I mean, I would be surprised, like I said earlier, if he doesn't end up with a contempt charge
Yeah,
for
something's
his
going to happen.
outbursts. He's probably going to have fines out the ass, another gag order. I guarantee it. I bet you that case doesn't even last one day,
Yeah.
half a day before the judge comes out with a gag order, and says, "Okay, shut the fuck up, Dottie. I don't want to hear it. You're talking shit about me. You're talking shit about my staff." And the judge might not even give him that benefit. They might, Alvin Bragg might just come out day one of his opening motions might be, "Hey, judge, let's get this out of the way. Here's all of our evidence from other cases he's been a part of. Let's just nip this in the butt right now."
Yeah. Yeah. You mean like with a summary judgment or something like that? That's
No,
conceivable.
no, I'm not saying a summary judgment. I'm saying like just day one of the like when they go in for jury selection, one of the things Alvin Bragg might do, I'm spitballing here, but he might go in and say, "Hey, judge, here we're asking for a gag order on Donald Trump before he even this case even starts because here's our evidence from the last two trials that he's been part of, or three trials he's been part of, where he's done nothing but talk shit and violate gag orders, etc. Let's just get it out of the way. Issue the gag order right off the bat because we're going to be here eventually anyway."
Well, and I think you're right about that because we know how Donald Trump behaves. He's gone through this lawsuit. He is going to be under immense financial pressure. He is going to be broke. And when you take somebody of that personality and they get trapped and they get cornered, that's when they're the most dangerous. They flail, they say and do things without thinking. And he's going to be primed to do that once he finally realizes that he's sitting in a criminal court, that he may go to jail. He can't walk out. He's got to sit there. You know, this guy can't sit still anyway. You're probably right. That is going to be the one time that he's just going to go off the rails and cause all kinds of problems for himself beyond what he's in court for.
Oh yeah, he's going to make it 10 times worse, easy, and it won't take very long.
Yeah.
Um, he can't sit, he won't be able to sit there for day after day after day, listening to all this. He's going to have outbursts, and he's going to, when somebody's testified about something, he's going to sit there, wrong, no, didn't happen, witch hunt, and the judge isn't going to put up with it for very long.
My only regret about that case is because it's in New York, it won't be on TV. Because that would be must see TV if
Yeah.
we could watch Donald Trump make a fool out of himself and they get convicted of multiple crimes.
Oh, that would be great. The only thing better would be if the DC case was televised or something. I think we talked about it at one point. They should make it pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You could make one hell of a dent in the federal deficit or the federal not the deficit, the you know, oh, our our negative balance, you
Yeah.
know, all of our outstanding bills. We could pay off a shit ton of that
Yeah. No
just
shit.
with the pay-per-view cost
With the pay-per-view costs, we could
alone,
probably fund free healthcare for everybody. Um, you know what I'd like to
and not
see?
and it wouldn't even have to be, you wouldn't even be that expensive. Something like a dollar a day or something. So you can always, and you have to pick which days you want to watch. I guarantee you people would shell out 99 cents or a dollar a day to watch, even if it is just certain witnesses. And some people would pay for every single day of that trial.
But by then he would
It
be
would be
able
great.
by that time you could uh, sell it for $10 a month and you get a free pair of tennis shoes and an NFT because those fuckers will be sitting there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You got to wonder about those tennis shoes. How many people who hate Donald Trump are going to buy those just to make fun of him?
I'm gonna say not very many.
Really? You don't think so?
There might be a couple who are gonna like probably content creators that might do it,
Yeah.
but they would buy them to make fun of it. But most of the content creators on the left don't spend their hard-earned money on things that they don't want. That's a MAGA thing. The MAGA would, if this was the Donald or if this was a Joe Biden shoe, MAGA would buy them just to sit out in their backyard drinking a beer and setting them on fire.
So
And
so
the
you don't
people on the left have more sense than that.
so you don't think we should start a GoFundMe so you and I can buy Donald Trump tennis shoes? I probably won't work.
I I wouldn't want one even if they were given to me for free.
You know, when I looked at when I looked at Donald Trump shoes, they're gold and they're kind of ridiculous. It reminded me of a tragic time in my life. My my mother, my brother and I are about a year apart, And my mother always dressed us as twins. And except they were different colors. He'd wear blue or I'd wear blue and he'd wear brown or something like that. But there's two things she did all at the same time. And it reminds me of how just ridiculous what Donald Trump is trying to do with these tennis shoes. First of all, we were starting to bring lunch to school in grade school. So kids were bringing it in bags or lunch boxes with cool shit like Lost in Space or something like that. She went out and bought two matching lunch boxes that were red and white and blue and shaped like a mailbox. Talk about asking people to kick your kid's ass. We went to school one day with them. One day, and I went back and said, "Mom, buy some fucking bags. I'm not bringing this to school." But that wasn't even the worst part. The reason it gave me a flashback with the shoes. In addition to that, she bought my brother and I um, matching pairs of shoes. And in line with that lunchbox, these shoes were kind of high tops, but they were kind of the bucks, white bucks that you would have back in the day in the 60s. But these were white shoes, the toes were red, and the thing around the heel was blue. So I had these high top leather red, white, and blue shoes that both my brother and I had, and she made us wear them to school one day, and that's all it did. But they were ridiculous, and as much as I love my mom, I hate her for that, and God rest her soul. But she knows what she did, and she did it with all good intentions, but it was ridiculous. I can only imagine what it would look like if you have these gold shoes with Trump's T on it. Fuck's sake. That's got to be embarrassing. That's,
Yeah,
I know I was embarrassed with the red, white, and
the
blue shit.
problem, people like you and me would be embarrassed to wear that,
Oh,
but these
yeah.
damn Trumpers, they would be proud because. But part of the problem is the people in the areas of the country that would buy them. People like you and me are the outcasts. We're the
Yeah.
weirdos. We're the
Yeah.
weird ones, and so their friends would all think they're something or they're cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
God, I'd be embarrassed to wear them.
Well,
You could. I don't know if you pay me. Oh, you might be able to pay me enough, but
I
that
did
number would be up there.
I did a TikTok about the shoes, and everybody's going, that's fucking ridiculous. That's stupid. That's typical Donnie Trump grifting. And then I got one Trumplafuck that came in. I'm going to buy a pair and I'm going to wear them proud. I bet you are, motherfucker. I was on a plane this week coming back from Georgia. And as I'm standing there, there's a guy with a Trumplafuck hat on. And my wife goes, check it out. Hope he doesn't recognize you. And he was this big, goofy looking fuck. His face was all scrunched up because he had no teeth, no teeth. And so I'm looking at him and he's talking to everybody. I'm going, please, Lord, don't talk to me because I will have a hard time holding back. And then this plane trip is going to be very tough. Fortunately, he didn't talk to me. He wasn't near me. But I said, honey, this is the epitome of a Trumplafuck. This big, goofy looking dumb fuck that somehow pulled together enough money to buy a $50 Trump hat. And don't you feel sorry for them? And my wife, who's become a little more assertive in her older age, says, "I don't fucking feel sorry for him. He deserves it. I hope he doesn't eat for a week by buying that fucking hat."
Yeah, and I don't get. I will never understand the people that go out that have gone all in on the Trump merchandise. It is so tacky and ridiculous. I haven't seen him for a while, but there was an older gentleman here in town. Used to see him every day, out and about different spots. He would wear a red. I think it was a red hat with blue words, and it said, "Don't blame me. I voted for Trump." And it's like, no, I blame you because you voted for Trump, and you're putting a big old sign on your head that says, I'm a dumb fuck.
I'm a dumb
I didn't
fuck.
say
Yeah,
it to him, but I wanted to.
exactly. We're going to wrap things up, but I just want to ask you one thing. I've been going back and forth in my mind, and I've always said this from the beginning. I've always thought this, that when Donald Trump gets completely revealed, and he's pretty much there now, at least financially, will all these people that supported Donald Trump, these fervent followers, will they ever realize that they've been duped and be embarrassed by this? Do you think, and I'm talking about the hardcore Trumpers, do you think they'll ever come to a point where they will be embarrassed for following this guy?
Some might, some won't. Like I said, I think the last time I was on the podcast, I think being a Trumper is going to be kind of like being a Klansman. You're going to find this in, when at some point in the future, when your grandma and grandpa pass away, you're going to find these things up in their attic or their closet or whatever. And you're just going to go, oh my God, they were a Trumper. They're,
Yeah.
they, they might not ever come to the light and see that they were wrong, but they're going to go back under their rock and they're going to go back to masking it and hiding it because they're not going to want to admit it. It's going to be a source of shame, but I don't know if they're ever going to admit they were duped and lied to.
Well, that's the one thing I've noticed. There are some of and I know this sounds like an oxymoron, but there are some Trumpers that I'd gotten in debates with over the years. Um, and they were a little smarter and they were pretty fervent about Donald Trump. And when I meet them today, I'll say, "What do you think about Trump?" He goes, "Oh, I don't talk about politics anymore. I'm too busy with my work," which means they realize they look like idiots and now they're trying to back out of it. Fortunately, I'm a more tenacious guy and I'm not letting them fucking back out of it. No, no, you love Donald Trump. You probably still love Donald Trump. I am sorry that you don't want to talk about it, but what you did was so egregious against this country, you don't get let off the hook.
Yeah, they they're going to back off and say, no, I don't talk about politics. All that means is they're not as open about their beliefs
Right.
because they realize they're on the losing side. If the next person came around that was just as loud and just as proud as Donald Trump and was spouting the same stuff and could whip up that base the way he did, they'd be out cheering his name too, saying the same damn dumb shit. But it's only because it's associated right now with Donald Trump and he's starting to look kind of like a loser. They're backing off a little bit and saying, yeah, I'm going to
They're
clean up my image.
they're even realizing that they look like idiots. All right, Eric, we're going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. I want to thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Get your insights from the beautiful red state of Iowa, the one shining star from Iowa. There's a couple of others that have written us that are tiny blue dots in that weirdo fucking state. It's a great state. I love the places in it. I love some of the people in it, but Jesus Christ, it's a little frustrating knowing they're just south of the border of my home state of Minnesota.
Yeah, we could do some great things here in Iowa if we just, got back to actually being Iowa nice like we claim to be.
Yeah,
But we need more of the blue dots to speak up, speak out, and, not be so defeated. I think we could take this state back, at least turn it purple, if not blue.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's hope for that. I think we may have an opportunity when it comes to November because the Republicans will pretty much be played out by that point between Roe v. Wade and all the crimes and all the investigations and all the fucking failures. If you're not going to turn blue at that point, or at least purple, you're never going to. It's just never going to happen. Eric, thanks very much for joining us. For those folks listening, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. I hope you have a great day. And of course, we'll talk to you tomorrow and we'll start a brand new week, and some crazy shit is probably going to happen. So stick with us and we'll talk to you tomorrow.